All right, for the final chapter, I wanted to just show how we can actually send events through a socket from the client. So what we'll do is we're going to start on the server side of this, and we're going to make a new model. We're going to call it reaction.yaml. And here, similar to before, we'll have a reaction. And inside the reaction, we're going to have a couple fields. We're going to have a message, which will be a string, and we're also just going to send the player name up. Keep it simple. We could do this with a relationship to an actual full player, but I just want to keep this simple. So now we're going to want to run our generate, because that will actually generate the Dart code for this model. So now we'll go back to our Flutter side in our game.dart, and we're going to have a few different reactions that we will allow players to submit. So I've just picked a few random emojis here. And what we're going to do now is after our counter, let's just add another sized box with a height of 8, let's say. And we're going to put in an option, a list of these options here. So to do this, let us put a list view.builder for the item count. We will of course use the reaction options.length. And here I just want to return basically text that has, right, we have to actually create a reference to this. Reaction equals reactions, reaction options, and at that particular index. And here we will just put this right here. And we actually don't have to interpolate it because it's already a string, so we can actually just pass that in like that. Now I want this, actually, sorry, I'm going to make one quick change to this. Instead of a list view builder, we're just going to use it in a wrap. It'll just be a little bit simpler. We won't have to worry about as much things. So for our children, we will just take our reaction options.map, convert it back to a list. And in here, we'll basically take this same thing, and we'll just call this R and R. Let's just do that. It's a little bit easier. So let's just see how that looks. So we see these guys here, and we can give our alignment, our wrap alignment of center. And let's also just kind of pad these out a bit. So I'll wrap this in padding, and we'll just add a trailing comma here. So we got these guys here. All right, so you'll see the counter is negative, and it's because we've stopped our server, so it's waiting for the next question to come, but the question will never come. That's fine for now. Let's wrap our text in an inkwell, and we'll do an on-tap event here. Within this, all we have to do is go client.trivia.sendStreamMessage, and here we just have to say what message we're sending, and in this case, we're actually just going to send a reaction up. We're going to use for the message whatever reaction the player clicked, so in this case R, and we're going to take our player.name to send that up as well. So let's go to our server side on the trivia endpoint, and I had a little to-do here, so let's actually just see how this actually works. I'm just going to go print message right here, and we'll save that, and we're going to start our server. And on the Flutter side, we'll just do a rebuild and come back to it. So I will be Tyler. And if I click these buttons now, we actually see the message coming in on the server side. And this is just the two-string version of it, which is really just the JSON encoding. But what we can do here is now, similar to what we were doing on the front end, if message is reaction, we can do something with it. So what might we want to do? Well, we can actually just go session.messages.postMessage and take that same channel name and just repost the message, right? So really, like, this is kind of redundant here, but in case we want to be handling things differently, I will still wrap it in this to be safe. So we'll save that, and we will have to restart our server. Any server code change, we need to restart. And back on the front end again, we can listen for these changes. So right here, we have is update game state. Let's check another one. Else if update is reaction, then let's just print the update to our console. And let's try it out. Now I'm just going to restart because we did restart the server and stuff's kind of probably in a weird state. So now if I click this, we should see over here the message. So this is actually now receiving it. Now the user who sent it, is going to receive it, but also other users will too. Anyone who's connected to the backend. So now we can do something with this. And in this case, I mean, the real thing you maybe would want to do is similar to when people react on a stream and the animation comes from the bottom to the top. Doing that is obviously possible with what I'm going to, what we have here, but I'm keeping the scope small on the Flutter side, and we're just going to kind of list, all the reactions that come in here. So let's have a list of reaction, and we'll call it reactions. And it'll just be an empty list to start. And then basically when this happens, we can go set state, and we can make our reactions equal to whatever the current reactions are, and then this update. So now we have a new reaction in here. And down here, right after this, let's put another size box with a height of 8 again, just to space things out. And here's where I meant to do the list view. I'm just going to paste one in because it's not really anything to do with Serverpod, but we're just basically doing a list view.builder, but with a scroll direction of horizontal. And we're just looping through the actual reactions, not the reaction options, but the one in the state that is going to be being updated as people send it in. And then we're just putting a card in here with the message and the player name. So we'll save that. And if I actually do this now, although we will do a rebuild because of the stateful widget. And we see Tyler said this, Tyler said that. So pretty cool. But let's actually spin up a second client here. And I'll just do this one in Chrome so that we can actually see that these are happening live on both sides. We have Chrome here, so we're just going to sign in as Chromie. And we'll see, the players here, Tyler, and Chromie. And if I actually send a reaction here, we're going to see it come in here. And we see here. Now, the reactions aren't persisting. We're not even storing these server side. So, when this one joined, we're only getting the new ones that come in. But neither here nor there, this is, working exactly as we'd expect it. You will notice that the emojis look kind of funny on web, and that's because you have to add a specific font for emojis to, look as pretty on web, but that, again, out of the scope of this. Okay, so that basically wraps it up. I just want to do a quick review of everything now that we have it all in place. So let's start on the server side, since that was the first thing we did. And we started by creating some models. So we had like our player model, just defining it in YAML. We had a question. We recently made the reaction, and we have the game state, which is just, the state of the game at any current moment. And we then created our trivia game.dart, which is kind of just like a manager of the game. It could have also been called Trivia Manager or Game Manager. And within this, we had a way to load the questions, and we did it through an API just to, not have to write our own questions. And we loaded those all in, and we made some functions to actually go to a next question, which is being controlled by this timer here every 10 seconds. It will go to the next question. And when a next question happens, we actually post that message to the channel with the current game state. And the current game state is just this getter that basically takes whatever's in memory right now, for instance, the players, the current question, and when this round will end, and broadcasts it to everyone. We had things for checking answers, adding in players, updating a score, and so on and so forth. We also made an endpoint for trivia. So anytime someone connects via stream, we are essentially sending a way up to broadcast new messages to them. We have this when a message comes in, and we're only handling it with one thing. The last thing we did in this chapter, the reaction, we're able to then just repost it to everyone. We had a API endpoint as opposed to a socket endpoint, and this just allowed players to join. It generated them a random string as their identifier, and then return that player so that they could keep it client-side in memory. And we had a way to submit the answer and update the score when it was correct. Then back on the Flutter side, if we started our main.dart, just a basic main.dart. Main difference is we create our client here, pointing to the server's endpoint, and then we just had a scaffold with our game in it. And the game, just basic stateful widget, keeping track of various things like the game state and players and what questions we've answered. We create our connection handler and connect to it, which ultimately runs this right here on the server. And then we have our listen to updates. And this is just checking every time that stream that we connected to has updates. If it's a game state, we're going to set state to change the game state and also update our current player's state. Basically, their, because their score might have changed. And then we also have our update for when reactions happen to just do that. And then, we just had this is mostly just Flutter stuff here. If the player is still null, we show this way to add your name, and then submitting it, we run that join function on the server right here, which again returns that player, and we set that in state. And we also can get the game state by hitting this get game state endpoint, which just uses the game manager to get the current state so that this player can join and not have to wait until the next 10 seconds when it's going to be broadcast again. We had this in place, which really wasn't being used. If we didn't do this here, and let's actually just show how that would work. So if I come refresh and join the game now, it's because we're broadcasting the event when someone joins. So really, we don't necessarily need that. I just wanted to show that there's ways to do that, which can definitely help. And this is also something like, especially if you're building a chat, it's good to have just a function to be like, give me the history, give me everything that I missed because I wasn't subscribing and waiting for updates yet. And then down here, we had the actual game showing the players and just a way to see who has the scores, basically like a leaderboard, our current score. And we would show the current question as well as the answers, let them choose it. And then we would run this client.trivia.submit answer to submit it. And we would get back if it's true or false, being able to show them this. And then, just some stuff for the reactions, which we just went over. So I don't think I have to completely review that. But that's basically it. Then we just had this nice counter thing that essentially calculates how much time is left based on the timestamps. So that's it. That's what I wanted to show. Just a fun little video about Serverpod Mini and how you can work with Serverpod without worrying about a database or any of the really big DevOps stuff that comes along with it. So thanks for watching, and let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover in a future video.